The Cursed Golden Toothbrush. The Story of Mary. Hello, dear viewers. Before we continue this captivating story about Mary, please take a moment to hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you never miss any of our exciting new videos. We'd also love to know, where are you watching from? Drop your location in the comments before and after watching. It helps us understand our amazing audience better and keeps us inspired to bring you even more incredible stories. Now, sit back, relax, and enjoy the story. See blood. Oh my God. My teeth are falling. Why? Mary cried out in horror, her hands trembling as she stared at her reflection in the bathroom mirror. Her perfect teeth were dropping out like corn kernels, one by one. 1 tooth. 2 teeth. 3 teeth. But I'm 15 years old, not 8, she muttered, feeling the weight of the absurdity pressing down on her. She spat into the sink, and when she looked at the water, it was filled with blood. Her heart raced as panic set in. She touched her gums, but they felt soft, almost as if they were melting away. Tears filled her eyes as she stared at her empty mouth in disbelief. "What is happening?" she whispered, trembling. She frantically touched her gums again, feeling the holes where her teeth used to be. As more teeth continued to loosen and fall out, a cold shiver ran down her spine. She was powerless to stop it. "Esther," she screamed, her voice trembling as she rushed out of the bathroom. She clutched her mouth, stumbling toward her roommate's door. "Esther, please, come here." She could barely stand as she made her way to her roommate's door, hoping for anyone, to help her make sense of the nightmare unfolding inside her. Mary was a 16-year-old girl, tall, beautiful, brilliant, and always had a smile that could light up a room. She was born into a Christian family, a family of peace and love. Was she admired by many? Yes. Did everyone want to be her friend? Yes. Did she have an effortless charm? Absolutely. Her skin was flawless, radiant like the smoothest silk, and her eyes shone with a brilliance that rivaled the stars on a cloudless night. Her hair cascaded like a river of gold, flowing with grace and beauty. Born into the wealth of a privileged family, Mary had everything anyone could ever desire. She indulged in the finest meals and rarely saw the sun, her life untouched by the toil of housework, with Kelechi always there to handle the labor. Her skin, untouched by hard work, remained effortlessly glowing. A top student, she was admired by many for her beauty and intellect, effortlessly attracting attention wherever she went. Yet, despite the adoration surrounding her, Mary was reckless and headstrong. Her moral compass was lost in the splendor of her luxurious world. Living in the heart of Lagos, she had everything at her fingertips but lacked the wisdom and restraint to truly appreciate it. Her father, Kola, was a wealthy philanthropist, adored by everyone. He had money, fame, and a heart that couldn't help but give. But his daughter, Mary, was different. Her mother, Jennifer, adored her. She had prayed for 5 long years before she had Mary, and her love was always tinged with pressure. Her mother always had high expectations for her, constantly urging her to be the best. There were times when she'd compare Mary to other girls at school. "Why can't you be more like Favor, my colleague's daughter? She's always so well behaved and brilliant. She knows how to carry herself with respect. Don't let your father's wealth fool you. Remember that, one day, you'll be a woman who gets married, and that's something to keep in mind." Mary sighed, touching her face. She hated being compared to someone else. But did she change? No way. Her life seemed perfect on the outside, but Mary was starting to believe she could get away with anything. She had no respect for the people who worked around her, including their maid, Kelechi. One afternoon, as Kelechi served Mary lunch, she was scolded for something as simple as not folding the napkin the right way. "Can't you do anything right?" Mary snapped, her words cold. Kelechi's face fell, but she said nothing. Mary didn't care. She thought she could treat everyone like that, her maid, her friends, even her parents. Mary had become reckless, especially in school. Her classmates, who once admired her, started to notice her attitude. She would show off her wealth, belittle others, and laugh at their problems. Whenever her classmates showed her the new presents their parents bought, Mary would always sneer and say, "This is so cheap compared to what my father buys for me." But there was something undeniably special about Mary, though. Despite her arrogance and superiority, she took her education seriously. She studied diligently, answered questions with ease, and often impressed her teachers with her sharp intellect. Her mind was one of her few treasures that couldn't be bought or flaunted, and she made sure to nurture it, even if everything else seemed to come effortlessly to her. One day, a shy boy named Chijioke, who had always been kind to her, nervously approached Mary during lunch. "You're so beautiful and brilliant, Mary. I usually love the way you answer questions in class even when no one else knows," he said, his voice filled with admiration. Mary smirked, tossing her hair. "Is that the best compliment you've got? I don't need your stupid praise," she said dismissively. Then, in front of the entire cafeteria, she slapped him hard across the face. The room went silent. Chijioke stood there, shocked, rubbing his cheek, his face turning red from the sting. The other students stared, some whispering to each other, while others avoided looking directly at Mary. But she didn't care. She was the queen of the school, and no one could challenge her. Her reputation started to change, but Mary didn't notice. She continued to treat her classmates with disdain, and even though they tried to get closer to her, she pushed them away. She thought she was untouchable. Mary had no respect for authority, especially when it came to teachers she didn't like. During lectures, she would nonchalantly pull out her lunchbox and start eating, completely ignoring the lesson. If the teacher dared to correct her, she would simply stand up and walk out of the classroom. "After all, I won't fail, I'm already smart enough," she would mutter under her breath. The teacher, though visibly frustrated, would choose to ignore her and continue with the lesson, unwilling to waste time on her defiance. Esther, her roommate and classmate, would often try to correct Mary for her rude behavior towards others, including some of the teachers. But Mary would snap back. "After eating my food, you're here to lecture me? How dare you? You won't eat today," she would threaten. Esther, who came from a poor family and was doing everything she could to make it through school, would quietly apologize, promising to keep her distance and stay out of Mary's way. Her parents often received complaints about her behavior at school, but Mary would always deny it. "They're just jealous of my father. Can't you see that?" she would retort. At times, her parents would scold her severely, urging her to change her attitude and emphasizing the importance of respect and humility. But Mary brushed it off, ignoring their words as though they meant nothing to her. One day, on her way to school, Mary encountered an old woman on the street. The woman was frail and humble, dressed in worn-out clothes, and sat on the sidewalk holding a small cup for change. She often had to beg for alms just to feed herself while there. Mary, walking by without a care, looked at the old woman and muttered, "Why don't you get a job instead of sitting here begging all the time? I will not give you shusha, poor fool." The woman's eyes filled with sadness, but she said nothing. She simply looked up at Mary, and for a long moment, their eyes locked. "You will regret this," the old woman said quietly. "I will teach you a lesson you won't forget." Mary paused, then rolled her eyes and walked away. Crazy old woman, she thought, not giving it another second of her attention. But she couldn't shake the unease that crept into her mind. Little did she know, her careless words and actions had already set the curse in motion. A few days later, Mary's new friend at school, Ngozi, handed her a strange gift on her birthday, a small box wrapped in gold paper. When Mary opened it, she found a beautiful golden toothbrush inside, glittering in the light. "Happy birthday," Ngozi said with a smile. "I know you've never seen a golden toothbrush before." Mary, though puzzled, returned the smile, not wanting to seem ungrateful. "Thanks," she replied. "But why a toothbrush?" she asked, her curiosity piqued. "I've noticed how you always check your teeth in the mirror," Ngozi explained. "You make sure there's no stain before you talk to anyone. It's not every time, but you're very particular about it. So, I thought I'd get you a gift that would help you maintain that perfect smile." Little did Mary know, this was no ordinary gift. One morning, Mary decided to use the toothbrush to brush her teeth. She admired the brush at first. She rushed to the bathroom with a cup of water. As she was brushing her teeth, something strange happened. Her teeth started falling out. See blood. Oh my God. My teeth are falling. Why? Mary cried out in horror, her hands trembling as she stared at her reflection in the bathroom mirror. Her perfect teeth were dropping out like corn kernels. 1 tooth. 2 teeth. 3 teeth. But I'm 17 years old, not 8. She muttered, feeling the weight of the absurdity pressing down on her. She spat into the sink, and when she looked at the water, it was filled with blood. Her heart raced as panic set in. She touched her gums, but they felt soft, almost as if they were melting away. Tears filled her eyes as she stared at her empty mouth in disbelief. "What is happening?" she whispered, trembling. She frantically touched her gums again, feeling the holes where her teeth used to be. As more teeth continued to loosen and fall out, she felt a cold shiver run down her spine. She was powerless to stop it. "Esther," she screamed, her voice trembling as she rushed out of the bathroom. She clutched her mouth and stumbled toward her roommate's door. "Esther, please. Come here." She could barely stand as she made her way to her roommate's door, hoping for anyone, to help her make sense of the nightmare unfolding inside her. Unfortunately, Esther wasn't home. She had left for school earlier. After a few moments, the teeth stopped falling. Mary, still shaken, managed to rinse her mouth, her hands trembling as she tried to steady herself. Despite the horror she had just experienced, she forced herself to prepare for school, though her mind was clouded with fear and confusion. As the days passed, the situation only grew worse. Mary started to notice more than just her teeth falling out. Her beauty, which had always been a source of pride, no longer felt like it could hold people's attention. Her classmates started avoiding her, and even her parents seemed distant. Mary didn't understand what was happening, but the curse, it seemed, was spreading beyond just her physical appearance. One evening, she traveled home. She tried to apologize to Kelechi for the way she had treated her, but the maid simply shook her head. "You never cared before, Mary. Why should I believe you now?" Her words stung, and Mary realized how much damage her recklessness had caused. She returned to the hostel disturbed. That night, as she sat alone in her room, Mary began to think about everything that had led to this point. She remembered when she was younger, how her mother, Jen, had always pushed her to be better, to be perfect. No matter what Mary did, it was never enough. She remembered how Jen had criticized her looks, her schoolwork, even her friends. Mary had tried to please her mother, but it was never enough. And so, in her frustration, Mary began to build a wall around herself. She would mock others to make herself feel superior. But now, as the curse unfolded, she saw how hollow that defense had been. The walls she built around herself only isolated her, making her more alone as she grew older. The next afternoon, Mary confronted Ngozi after school. She demanded answers about the golden toothbrush, feeling betrayed. Ngozi's calm demeanor only made Mary more suspicious. "You knew this would happen, didn't you?" Mary snapped, her voice shaking with anger. "Look at my teeth, like I'm 8 years old. I can't even speak properly, and I can't sleep at night because of the pain. How could you do this to me? I thought we were friends." Ngozi didn't flinch. "I gave you the toothbrush to teach you a lesson," she said, her voice sad but resolute. "I am the woman you mocked on the street. I gave you the gift so you could understand the power of your words." The shock hit Mary like a wave. The girl she had trusted, the friend she had confided in, was the very woman she had insulted. And now, the curse was real. The golden toothbrush had sealed her fate. Mary was devastated. Her teeth were still falling out, but more than that, she was broken. She realized how recklessly she had lived, how cruelly she had treated others, her maid, the boy at school, and even her own parents. As the days passed, Mary changed. She went back to her mother, apologizing for the harsh words she had said, even though Jen had never fully understood her. She began to care more about the people in her life, those she had once dismissed. Eventually, the curse lifted. The golden toothbrush stopped glowing and disappeared, and Mary's teeth began to heal. But the lesson remained. She had learned that words could break people, just as they had nearly broken her. Mary's life was never the same after that. She learned the hard way that respect, kindness, and humility were more important than anything else. And every time she smiled, she remembered the lesson that had changed her life.